Paul Marshall is an expert on Asian affairs. He's a senior fellow at the Religious Freedom Institute and at the Hudson Institute, and joins us now with analysis of these developments. Paul, it's great to have you with us. It's impossible to look at these images and not be outraged. Where is the public outcry from the international community?
Very little, and also, except in one instance, also very little outcry from the church. The Vatican, except in the case of a recent appointment of a bishop, which violated an agreement, the Vatican has also been sadly silent on many of these things.
Paul, as the director of RFI's South and Southeast Asia Action Team, you must have your ear to the ground. Is there something unique about these protests? Can we glean something or expect something different to come from them?
What is unique about the protests is that there are, in fact, protests. China is so clamped down. It has this social credit system of monitors everything you do, whether or not you can take a train, whether or not you can fly a plane. So with the system of control, demonstration, opposition to the government has been almost impossible. So the fact that it's taken place is itself significant. I don't think it has the ability to make major changes in China at the moment, but the government does seem to have backed off. The protests were immediately against the lockdowns because of COVID, and the government seems to be retreating on that front and opening things up. So this sort of pressure has had a local effect, which is very good.
Well, we'll be looking forward to tracking how that develops. There are a lot of headlines about phone supply shortages after the Foxconn factory protests, but really none that delve into the horrible working conditions and the COVID lockdowns they've dealt with. Where is the accountability there?
I would look to Apple particularly in these cases, since its major factory was involved. But our corporations, American corporations, which are operating in China, make these agreements to go along with Chinese government policies. They will not upset it. And I think there's got to be pressure on these corporations that they cannot sell away freedoms which would apply in the United States. This is even true with corporations here. With Hollywood, will change movies rather than upset China. The National Basketball Association will restrict any criticism of China. Otherwise, China will ban its TV programs. So we need to, one lever we do have is corporations, sports leagues in the United States to develop some sort of a backbone in dealing with China.
So really asking for leadership from them. Let's talk about Jimmy Lai. He has this bold move to plead innocent and bring in a British lawyer. That has not gone unnoticed. What can we expect from his evolving situation?
I think the government will, what the Chinese government is seeking to do is, obviously it's repressing everybody, and the policies it follows in the mainland, it's now applying in Hong Kong. But in the main, it's trying to do it slowly. It's avoiding sort of shooting people or sending them off to labor camps for life, but slowly increasing restrictions. As with Cardinal Zen, he was convicted only of a very minor offense and had a fine for that. But that's a warning. He's being investigated for national security. So it's being said to Zen now, shut up, or something worse will happen. And similarly with Jimmy Lai, I think they'll try something soft at first. If he doesn't shut up, then they will keep pushing till he's spending years in prison. They're simply not brooking any resistance or any freedom.
Pope Francis has mentioned and showed some frustration with this being all that he can do with the Chinese regime. Does the Vatican have any real sway with the Chinese government?
I don't think it has very much sway. With the Chinese government, it's taken over the South China Sea. It violated its agreement to take over Hong Kong. And I think the response of the Chinese Communist Party is, well, what are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it. And I fear that's the same attitude in dealing with the Vatican in terms of the agreement on the joint appointment of bishops, which they now appear to have violated, and the Vatican has spoken out. But China's own response to that is, well, we should have friendly conversations. So in that sense, it was a gentle response. But I'm not sure the Vatican has many means to pressure China. And it should seek as much as possible to preserve the independence of the Catholic Church in China.
And there's nothing that they could actually do? There's no real firepower they could bring to bear aside from calling them out publicly?
Calling them out publicly, raising this issue in international fora, along with the question of Hong Kong and other things, and then calling on the Catholic bishops in China who have been appointed by the Vatican to seek to maintain their independence and to, as much as they can, resist the controls which the government is trying to impose on, you can't involve anybody under the age of 18 in any religious work and so on. I think a quiet campaign to maintain their independence and for the Vatican to support its bishops and its clergy in China is probably the best we can do at the moment. But there aren't any heavy levers that we have.
That's disappointing, but we'll keep praying for the Chinese people. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Paul.
And we can. Thank you very much.